Welcome, everybody. We are thrilled to be able to make your acquaintance tonight in this episode. This is episode 7 of From Scratch, the podcast. We're exploring Moldavite and afterlife connections. We're thrilled to have you with us tonight for an enlightening journey into the mystical and the spiritual. In this episode, we'll be diving deep into two fascinating topics with our incredible guests. First up, we'll explore the captivating world of Moldavite as our guest shares its origins, properties, and transformative power that it can have in our lives. Whether you're a crystal enthusiast or just curious about this unique stone, you'll not want to miss this at all. Next, we'll hear a touching story after the first guest from our second guest, who will tell us of a heartfelt encounter that she had in a visit to Spirit World, and she recounts her experience connecting with a recently departed loved one. Prepare for a moving conversation that explores love, loss, and unbreakable bonds that transcend this life. So sit back, relax, and get ready for a night of inspiration and insight as we uncover the magic that exists in our world and beyond. Welcome to From Scratch, the podcast. And before we go any further, folks, I want to bring to the forefront our illustrious founder and our host, Teresa Angela.
Hey, hey. How's everybody
Hey there,
doing?
love. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm so excited for today's episode.
Yeah, a lot of hard work has been put into this, and we have some extraordinary personalities that are going to be joining us in just a second. Looks like we're all lit up here, Miss Teresa. We've got our comments flowing in the chat. We've got viewers tuning in. We are set and ready to be guided by you into an extraordinary experience.
So let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, seekers of wisdom, it is with great excitement that we welcome our special guest today, Zandra Fox de Sotoborja, with over 15 years of dedicated experience in working with the captivating gem or tektite known as Moldavite. Zandra has emerged as a true expert in this extraordinary gemstone. Her profound understanding of Moldavite's unique properties, combined with her spiritual insights, empowers those who seek her guidance to connect deeply with their own energies and aspirations. Beyond her expertise in Moldavite, Zandra is a highly gifted tarot reader and healer, utilizing her intuitive abilities to illuminate pathways and foster personal transformation. Her compassionate approach and extensive knowledge make her a trusted ally in the journey of self discovery as she weaves together the threads of astrology and spirituality to offer a holistic healing experience. Join me in welcoming my friend Zandra, a passionate advocate for spiritual growth, and she serves as a bridge to the mystical world with Moldavite. Welcome, Miss Zandra. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you for such a nice welcoming. I'm really well. I hope everybody's doing good. I'm here in my new hometown in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, 45 minutes away from Cancun.
Awesome. So,
Yes.
Miss Zandra, tell us a little bit about yourself, and we really want you to share how Moldavite crossed your path.
Well, I'm 67 years old. I've been on this journey since I was 18, and with all its ups and downs and going through life and I guess karmic um, things that I needed to learn from past lives, and it took me a long time, but I never gave up. I never gave up on myself. I never gave up on the universe. I never gave up on God. I never gave up on my angels. And, I forged ahead. I had a lot of downs, but I came out at the very top, as I feel that I am at now. Um, just just being a seeker, looking and looking for guidance. And one day when I was about 54, I found my master teacher, one of my master teachers, and it was just miraculous. It was meant to be. It was the right timing. I believe in divine timing. When I found him, it was through a podcast. Back then, they weren't called podcasts, they were radio shows, and it was through internet. And I found him, and I shouldn't have even spoken to him because I called it so late, but it was meant to be, and I was able to speak to him, and he started guiding me. He started guiding me on this path with so much knowledge and everything. And I those demons were still there behind me when I met him. And it took about 2 years in after meeting him and studying with him when I finally realized it was time to make this serious. And if I really wanted this change, I had to do my part. It wasn't just going to be, okay, I'm here, do it for me. We all have to work for it. And we have to put in the effort and the time. And that's what I realized. And one day he was talking about Moldavite. And so I started investigating because I'm a Scorpio. So Scorpios are investigators, and
Uh-huh.
and I just started investigating about Moldavite, and it just resonated with me. So one evening I sent him a real short message, and I said, "Do you think I'm ready for Moldavite?" And all he answered was, "Absolutely, absolutely."
Mm-hmm.
And so I looked for somebody to, on internet, because at that time I was living in Acapulco, Mexico. I married my husband 30 years ago. He's from Mexico, and I'm from the States. I'm from Texas. And I moved over here 30 years ago. And so money was tight. I mean, real tight, real tight. And I found a supplier, and I was able to come up with the money to buy two little slivers. And I mean, tiny, tiny little slivers from him, one for me, one for my husband. And when it finally arrived, I was ecstatic. And when I saw it, I thought, oh my God, this is so tiny. It looked bigger in the picture on internet.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, can this really be? I started to doubt for a second. But then all of a sudden I looked up, and I have this huge window in my bedroom at the time, and there was a rainbow, and I knew it it was meant to be. So I called my little sliver Rainbow. And what I found is connection is very important with your Moldavite. You need to connect. You, when you get it, um, you get you hold it in your hand, and you really do feel, even though it was this tiny little sliver, you feel this heat
Mm-hmm.
building up in your hand. And I was never a crystals person or minerals or anything. I never believed in it. I mean, I really didn't until Moldavite came into my life. And so I felt this flush, and it was amazing. All of a sudden it was like I was high, like if I had drank 15 margaritas. This tiny little sliver had given me this high, and I thought, holy moly, what is this? And I knew that when that happens, just put it aside for a minute, walk away from it, get your bearings, and then go back to it. So I started connecting to my Moldavite. I did a ritual, a meditation actually, every day. It was for 17 minutes, holding my Moldavite and connecting to it and just saying thank you, thank you, thank you to my Moldavite, because I was ready to receive whatever transformation it wanted to give me. And I
Mm-hmm.
started seeing so many synchronicities with my Moldavite. I started to see and feel the changes that I had been dreaming and praying for 40 years, that I had wanted those changes in my life, but I wasn't able to do it on my own. And I now that I think about it, it wasn't that I wasn't able. I needed to go through all those tests that were given to me. There were lessons that I needed to learn. And when Moldavite came into my hand, my life just changed tremendously. I can tell you that I received my Moldavite at the end of September. I paid with shipping and everything for those two little teeny tiny slivers $50, which was hard to come by at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And only only the divine knows, and only Moldavite knows, that by the beginning of November, I had bought 8 large pieces,
Wow.
and I started I started offering it, and that started my Moldavite journey and the changes in my life. It helped me. I can tell you, this is something that really helped me, was to make the decision, if my spiritual uh, journey was that important to me, that I needed to quit drinking. I had an alcoholic problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I had never, it was like every morning I'd wake up and say, that's it, no more. I'll never touch another drop of liquor. And by noon, it was there again. And I can tell you that within 6 months of my Moldavite, one day I said, I'm done. That's it. I'm ready for this journey. I'm serious. And I've never looked back. And it was the easiest thing to do.
That's amazing.
I
Wow.
could I could wake up every morning and not have to worry about thinking, today's the day. I knew it was just part of the journey. And it's been 13 years since I've had a drink.
Say that again, Miss Fox.
13 years since I've
13
had a
years. Wow, that's amazing.
it's
Amazing.
amazing. And that's how I fell so deeply in love with my Moldavite, because from there on, we had a relationship. You know, it took me to where I needed to be. It gave me so much transformation. It
Mm-hmm.
made it so easy to make the decision. That my decision was mainly because my master teacher had given us some practices that we needed to do at 3 in the morning. And I thought, well, there's no way I can be drinking, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and be ready to do my practices, my spiritual practices, to be with the divine, and, go to bed at 12 midnight and be up at 3 and be conscious, be there, completely whole. And that's when I made that decision. I said, to me, it was more important to follow my journey that I had been looking for so many years, and with my Moldavite, and with my master teacher, and with all the people in the groups that I had met and the fellowshipping that I was able to do, it just changed my life. Totally changed my life. And I have been able to help many people through Moldavite uh, change their lives. You know, may it be drinking, may it be drugs, may it be gambling, may it be womanizing or menonizing, you know, because we've got them from both sides, you know.
Just hush
It's
that
there.
part right there. Hush that part right there.
You know, and to me the most important and the most beautiful thing about Moldavite is helping people and knowing that they're ready for it. I've always said it's, you know, I've had clients that have said, you know, I'll get back with you. I said, it's all in divine timing. When you're ready, Moldavite will be here just waiting for you.
That is amazing, Miss Fox.
I have so
Yes.
Absolutely
many
amazing.
questions. I got so many questions because I am aware of Moldavite, but we're gonna go back a few minutes. So your master teacher was actually who mentored my master teacher, and I believe you and I met in a following or in a group from my mentor. And
Oh,
when I saw you were very quiet in there, but you would always promote Moldavite. You always talked about it. I had no idea what it was, but something said I need to add this woman as a friend, and I kind of kept you there. Um,
oh,
but Moldavite, I just firmly believe that it puts you where you need to be when you need to be there.
oh yes.
You're going to know when you're ready for it because you're going to start to have a hunger for it. I
Right.
never knew what this was. I never heard the word. I knew nothing about this tektite is what it is.
Exactly.
And it's not pretty. It is not a pretty stone, but
No, but it is so
see it.
beautiful. But yeah,
It talks to you. When you
it,
see it, you are immediately drawn to want to know what that is.
yes,
So
yes.
who who should try working with this? So people who are listening who they've maybe never heard of it or maybe they've heard horror stories because that's the trend also. Who should try working with
The horror story is this: if you're not ready to make those changes, because Moldavite's going to make you look at yourself in the mirror, like it
it? Mhm.
made me look at myself in the mirror. Those are the horror stories. That's why people talk about, oh, it's evil, it's this. Yeah, because you don't want to make those changes. You don't want to connect. You're not willing to do the work. Those are the horror stories.
That's
That's
right.
what I truly believe. Does
Absolutely.
that resonate? Does that make sense?
It does. It so does. And that flush that you talked about, I want to go back to that. When you first get in front of Moldavite, when it's presented to you, when you even sometimes you don't even have to touch it, you are
Mm-hmm.
immediately affected. When I first held it, I was in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I was visiting my mom for the last time. And I just took a quick trip into a crystal store that my oldest sister, she's resting in power. I went to where she used to shop and just cruising around. I had really no reason. I wasn't buying stuff. But I walked over to the jewelry section because I noticed they had been added. So I go over to this jewelry case and they had beautiful crystals, all kinds, necklaces and rings, but she had 3 rings in this case and I thought, why is that so expensive and that is such an ugly ring? What is that? And she said, "Oh, that's not really for everyone. You have to be ready for this." And I asked for her to put the tray up. And when I held the ring, I felt like I was going to fall out of my shoes. Like I was swaying. And I thought, I have no idea what this is, but now I know I need it. And she said, well, let's start slow. And she
Right,
walked me over to where there was Moldavite oil, which had a little chip in the bottom of the vial. And then there was like bath salts. So that's kind of
right.
how I was introduced to Moldavite. But I want to go over to the chat really quick. And we have a lot of people saying hello. We have Alexis, Virginia, Lisa, Miss Monica. Here is my sister Kathy. We have Farah, Jalik Otley. Everyone is here and saying hello. So good evening and thank you guys for coming on with us.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Listening to this amazing presentation with Miss Sandra. So Miss Sandra, back to you. Let's go back to this Moldavite. So tell us about the different sizes. So when, let's just say someone contacts you and they are interested in purchasing, what is the next step?
The next step, what I do, see, I never wanted to make a page because I feel that if I have a web page, then somebody just goes in there and clicks, and I don't know who they are. I don't talk to them. I don't have interaction. I like to interact with the person that is purchasing from me. And what I do is when they contact me, I ask them to give me a price range. I've got Moldavite right now. Like, for instance, I've got little stud earrings of Moldavite that you can use, like little stud earrings on the second hole. That's the way I wear them. And then you can wear your nice hoops or whatever. From $80, I've got Moldavite from $80 all the way up to 500. So the first thing I ask them to start with, do you know what it's about? And if they say no, I send them some videos of other other suppliers that I learned from. I send them videos. I said, okay, does this resonate? They let me know yes. Okay, what's your price range? And they give me a price range. And I've got, you know, I like to work with a lot of jewelry. I do pendants, rings, earrings. I've got just loose stones.
Mm-hmm.
And when they give me their price range and they tell me, okay, I'm looking for a pendant, or I want a ring, or I just want a loose ring, a loose piece, or I'm not really sure, then I send them pictures. And there's always, and it always happens, there's always, from one of those pictures, at least one or two of those pictures pop out to me as I'm
Mm-hmm.
sending it to them. So I send it to them and I tell them, okay, some I've already know which one resonates for me, for you, whoever that person is.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know which one you like. And I can tell you at least 96% of the time, we choose the exact same piece.
I love it.
And we go from there. Then what I do is, send them my PayPal, and I send it registered mail from
Mm-hmm.
here. I mean, I have sent Moldavite all the way to Africa, all
Nice.
through, and none of my Moldavite has ever been lost. It takes 2 to 3 weeks to get to the States through registered mail, and I'm tracking constantly and letting them know. Oh, once it crosses from Mexico into the States, then I let them know, okay, it's, in Florida, or it's in Georgia, or it's up in New York, and it's getting closer until they receive it, you know. And then once they have it, then I send them um, a video of a meditation so they can connect to it.
That was
I
my next.
always try to be there because for me, it's not just selling the Moldavite, it's helping them connect, helping them for it to help them
Mm-hmm.
with what they need. And like I said, when those horror stories or it's scary, it's only because they don't want to make that change.
Right. Absolutely. I
and,
resonate.
and that's my process, because I like to interact with every single one of my clients, and I can tell you I've sold maybe 3,000 pieces.
Wow.
Yeah.
So here's my question. So if you are in the same space with so much Moldavite, how do you feel? What is happening with you being surrounded all this time. And do you wear Moldavite every day?
I wear it every day. I wear it every day. I have a ring as I use as my, like if it were my engagement ring,
Mm-hmm.
my diamond that my husband gave me, I put it away
Mm-hmm.
and I use it as my engagement ring with my wedding band. I have my pendant and I wear my little earrings all the time.
Wow.
And what I do when I feel, here's the thing, uh, most of the time, crystals have been known cleansed, to be cleansed with salt water, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Moldavite, you don't put into salt water. What you do is you put it out in the sun, okay? You
Mm-hmm.
cleanse your moldavite. When I feel that my moldavite is doormat, because you can feel it when it's doormat, all of a sudden gets heavy. It's because it's absorbed all the negativity that, you you catch walking around, in the grocery store, at the bank, you know, talking
Mm-hmm.
to the neighbor or whatever. I put it on my windowsill in the morning, and for an hour, I
Mm-hmm.
let the sun hit it, and it's charged up and ready to go. That's how you cleanse your moldavite.
Nice.
And when there's full moons, you don't put out your moldavite because moldavite is fire. Okay. So it's just with the sun. You connect with the sun. And I have a very special connection with the sun that I worked with. It was practice. It took me 4 years with my moldavite
Mm-hmm.
and practicing every day. But I finally got my son to talk to me and to blink to
Mm-hmm.
me. I don't know if anybody has heard of that. There's 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 not too many of us in the world that have that connection to the sun.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go out in the morning, I'll do certain prayers, and with my phone, I'll make a video, and my sun is pulsating at me. If anybody ever goes on my Facebook or Instagram page, you can see my videos where the sun is pulsating. Anybody else that's out there, they can't see the sun pulsating, but it
Mm-hmm.
pulsates for me
Oh, yeah.
only. And it's a connection, and I know it had to do with Moldavite. So when I do get a shipment in, I'm super high. I get really, really super high. And
Mm-hmm.
so I keep my Moldavite in a special case in my living room that I bought, where I display it next to my altar. That's where I keep it. I don't keep it in the bedroom because I wear enough of it, to keep me going.
That is it. I just love it. It's one of my favorite pieces to wear, but I can't, since my surgery, I have not worn it. And I know
Uh-huh.
I'm going to start wearing it again, but I just haven't started back with it. So, can you tell our listeners how they can connect with you for more information about Moldavite, as well as maybe if they're interested in purchasing? And also, one last thing, um, what do you suggest? Because there are other sellers out here, but there's so much fake Moldavite.
That's the thing. Okay, that's the thing. You have to be very careful. I got burnt a couple of times. I finally found a miner in Czech Republic, which is where it's originated from, and I only buy my Moldavite from him. But there's a lot of fake out there, and the way you can tell that it's fake, all you have to do is get a um, flashlight.
Mm-hmm.
Place your Moldavite on top of the flashlight, or even from your phone,
Mm-hmm.
and put it on there. Moldavite, if it's genuine Moldavite, there's shadows inside of it because you'll see this beautiful green, but you'll see shadows and you'll see bubbles, and the bubbles are elongated. Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And the reason they're elongated is because this was a meteorite that fell 15 million years ago. in that area in Bohemia, Czech Republic. And of course, if that meteorite's flying down through the sky, when it exploded, the bubbles that it made went elongated. When
Mhm.
it's made, a lot of Chinese, it's just the way it is. They make it, but you'll see the bubbles are round
Yeah.
and you won't see any shadows in there like veins. It's kind of like veins. If you see veins and shadows and the elongate, it's original. You can tell now. They don't make it that well. But yeah, I did get burnt a couple of times, but I learned real
Yeah.
quick.
Oh,
And then,
you know when you hold it if this is authentic.
oh yeah, of course. And there's I have a beautiful ritual I would love to share with you guys that I do with Moldavite. It's special with Moldavite. It's you get yourself a gold candle. You only do it twice a week. You get a gold candle. It can be, a long, thin gold candle that you use for a dinner party or something, or you can buy a nice, pretty round gold candle. They sell them on Amazon. It's with Goddess Lakshmi. I don't know if anybody knows about her. She's
Hmm.
a Hindu goddess. Very, very, very divine goddess.
Hmm.
And so you get your gold candle, you put it on your altar, you put a glass of water next to it, you light your incense, you get your Moldavite, you really tap into it, you start telling it, thank you, thank you, thank you for all the things that you're asking it that you want in your life. It can be wealth, it can be transformation, it can be so many things. Light your candle and do 108 um, mantra. It's Om Shrim Mahalakshmi Ye Swaha. You do it with your mala beads if you have any. If not, you do it 108 times. Or you can, what I do, anybody can contact me. I can, you know, give them the link. There's Diva Primal. She's got a video of Goddess Lakshmi with the Om Shri Maka Lakshmi Ye Swaha. It's 108 times. You listen to it, you repeat it with her. Once it's done, you sit there, you're looking at the light, and you do it twice a week. And whatever you continue doing this, it can be any day. It doesn't have to be, you know, Monday and Wednesday. No, you can do it whatever day you want, but be consistent on the days you do it. You make
Hmm.
the decision, and miracles start happening.
I love it.
Goddess Lakshmi and Moldavite love each other, and they work very well together.
I love it. I have
Okay,
her son tattooed on my arm.
there you go. Synchronicities.
That's
You
right.
know,
So
there you
tell
go.
our listeners how they can connect with you.
You can connect with me through Facebook at Zandra Fox de Sotoborja. I don't know if you can put a uh, uh, my full name in the chat for them.
Sure.
Look for me through Zandra Fox Sotoborja, or you can find me in Instagram at Z Angel, Z as Zandra, Angel 57, and you can message me through there. And I'll be more than happy to help you, to guide you, to help you with your Moldavite experience. It's magical. It's it will change your life for the good. And when you have to face certain things, you have to face them. But Moldavite helps you make it easy, not so painful. You know, to where you're able to get through whatever it is that you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I don't want this. I don't need this. It also, protects you against people that shouldn't be in your life and you've never been able
Yes, Lord.
to get them out of your life. It for some reason
Let me
they
ring the bell for that.
Ring that motherfucker twice.
oh, it helps so much
That's
to
the
get rid of.
biggest broom I've ever had. Damn.
Yeah, it does. It gets rid of people that shouldn't be in your life that you don't need, that haven't been a good influence, and you can't change people. We were brought up thinking that we can change them. No, everybody has their journey and they have to do the work if they want to make that change and if they want to be part of your circle. If
We
not, we have no time for that.
we bless the asteroid that brought it here.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Well, Miss
Exactly.
Sandra, I am so grateful. James, do you have any questions for her before we transition?
Yeah, I just have one question, Miss Andrea, and it's just so amazing. I'm sitting here. I almost forgot I'm the co-host. I got so enthralled in listening to your story and just the wisdom that you poured out. So thank you so much for that. And you have addressed all the questions that have been in the chat. But my question to you, I know you said that there needs to be a boldness that you have because this will definitely bring change. Is there a recommendation for a stone or something to use to get somebody ready just before they acquire Moldavite, or would you just recommend them understanding that it requires boldness and just jumping right in? Like if you really wanted to ease somebody into Moldavite, would there be an initial step that you would recommend, or an initial stone, crystal, or something that you would suggest people to use before they get Moldavite? That would be my question.
And no, no, because you just have to jump in.
Jump in. That's
You
it.
just have to do it. You know, I mean, we can't make it's not easy, but they have to be willing to be bold enough. I love that word, bold enough to get out there and do it. Okay.
That is
I love
awesome.
Uh,
Thank you for that. That clears it up.
you're so welcome. I hope I was able to help anybody out there. And, that's my story. I love to talk about my story because I was able to do it. I never thought, and I didn't believe in crystals. I didn't, I would see them at the fair or at the market, and oh, they're so pretty, but that was it. And then Moldavite came into my life, and holy moly macaroni, it just totally changed.
I
You
That is
know,
believe it.
awesome.
and every morning that I would say, okay, I'm not having another drink, and by noon I was, at it again. And when Moldavite came into my life, and it was like, I'm done, I'm ready, this is easy.
It's
And it
amazing.
was very
Wow.
easy. It was very easy. Of course, I had to go through certain steps for
Mm-hmm.
a couple of years of staying away from anything that would trigger it.
Right.
I
Sure.
knew. I mean, Moldavite taught me that. Moldavite is magical, but you still have to put in the work,
That's
the
right.
effort. You know,
Very
it
good
was like
point.
I did.
Very good point.
Yeah, yeah. It took me 3 years to get back into the pool and swim in the afternoons, because 4 o'clock would come around and it was margarita time. You know, at the pool.
Hey.
And for 3 years, because I knew it would trigger.
Mm-hmm.
And I just look out my bedroom window and look at my pool and go, I can't, it's not worth it. And I had to do that part. And Moldavite helped me to make that decision.
I'm so grateful for you.
That is so amazing.
Yeah.
Miss Sandra,
So
thank
very.
you for spending this time with us and for educating even those of us who already, we work with it and we know about it, it's always refreshing to have an expert come in. I thank you so much. I am going to contact you tomorrow so we can talk more about how I would like to continue working with you. But thank you so
Thank you.
much for coming tonight, and we really appreciate you.
Thank you for looking for me. It's amazing. I told you yesterday the story of I do a practice for work for you know uh, for so many people, but I never did it for me, and I finally started doing this practice a month ago, doing it for me. And
Yeah,
boom, you called me and said, "Let's do this," and I said, "Wow," because here we are.
it
It's
works.
synchronicity.
Yes, it is.
Synchronicity.
It does.
Love you guys. God bless you.
Love you and take care.
Take
Thank you, Miss
care.
Sandra.
And James, it was so nice meeting you, and keep ringing that bell.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. A pleasure meeting you as well. Take care and peace and power to you in your journey, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. And magical blessings to all of y'all.
Thank you. Wow, that was a fascinating deep dive into Moldavite and its transformative energies. Excuse me. This beautiful stone, it truly has a way of opening us up to new dimensions. And speaking of transformations, let's take a moment to explore another incredible journey, not just in the physical realm, but in the realm of mind and spirit. Quantum hypnotherapy offers a remarkable opportunity to delve deeply into the subconscious, allowing us to access memories and experiences that may have been blocked or forgotten. It facilitates profound healing by addressing root causes of emotional and sometimes physical issues, leading to transformative shifts in our lives. One of the most exciting aspects of this practice for me, being the practitioner, is the ability to visit spirit world during hypnosis. This can provide insights, clarity, and even connections with our loved ones who have transitioned. Many clients report feelings of peace, understanding, and a renewed sense of purpose after such experiences. We are thrilled now to welcome our next guest, Mari, who has experienced something so profound through quantum hypnotherapy. She started as my client, seeking to navigate her own journeys of self discovery, navigating the rough seas of grief, and has since become a dear friend of mine. So let's welcome Mari to the show and hear how her journey through quantum hypnotherapy has opened her up to new realms of possibility. Welcome.
Hello, how are
Hey.
you? Should I have my camera on or should I
You,
shut it off?
yes, please. We love it. We love it. You can keep it on.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I put lipstick on.
You're good. You're so cute. So welcome. So
Thank
everyone
you.
is just so excited to just hear from you. I'm still in awe. I can't stop thinking about our session. So I want you to just jump in and tell us who you are, tell them how we met, and let's go.
So, my name is Mari, and I am a mom. I am a wife. I am a sister. I am, an average person that has experienced the tragedy earlier this year. So, my son passed away January 12th, and it caught us all by surprise because he was only 29 years old. And he had his whole life ahead of him. And it was something that, I don't think any parent anticipates, although. If I'm going to be absolutely honest, I don't know if any other parent agrees with me. I've always had the fear of anything happening to my children, and that became a reality for me on January 12th. I was at work, and my son and my daughter were uh, starting their own business. And I mean, it was the peak of everything in our lives. They had finally gone into entrepreneurship, which is something that I had encouraged. They were about to receive their license. They were opening their school, and brother and sister. And I was just so so happy. I had champagne ready because once they received their license, we were all going to celebrate because it was the opening of the next chapter in their lives. And so when I received the phone call at work, I was expecting to receive a phone call saying, "Mom, we passed." And instead, I received a phone call saying, "Mom, you have to come home." And it was my daughter. And I was like, "Wait, what? What do you?" She's like, "Just, I need you to come home now." And I don't know what or how, but I felt it. I felt something. Something happened. And so I came home, and sure enough, my son never woke up that day. And it is something that I have struggled with since. It uh, has only been now it'll be 9 months since his passing, but every day I wake up and wonder, what could I have done differently? How did I contribute? I didn't do enough. I didn't say enough. That guilt that haunts every parent because um, children don't come with a manual, and so I always, examine my parenting. And so, he passed, and I didn't get to say this, and I didn't get to do that, and I didn't. And there's so much unfinished business that I just felt like I want to see him. I need to talk to him. I need to communicate with him. But how do I do that now? I don't know where he is. He's gone, and I am not a particularly religious person. I'm not someone that I was raised Catholic. Uh, my parents are Latinos, and we are predominantly all Christian or Catholic. So that was what I was raised in, but that's not necessarily a religion. I don't follow any religion. I just feel like I am a spiritual person. I just lead a very honest and good life and do good to others and do unto others as I would like to, that's pretty much how I am. So that's how my children were. That is what, so I was kind of like at a loss at like, okay, what do I know? What do I believe in? What do I hold on to? Because I felt like I should hold on to something. I need something right now, but there really wasn't anything because nothing was answering my questions. Nothing was giving me what I needed at the moment. And yes, everyone comes with great intentions. And yes, the words and the condolences and the flower and the food and all of that. But I wanted my son. I wanted to have that hug, that conversation, that, like, I don't know what, but I needed that. And so I took to TikTok. And I am very comfortable with social media. I always have been, but I come from a generation of like Facebook. So I was on Facebook for, when from the inception of Facebook, and I was comfortable with that. And then, then Instagram, and Instagram is more like sharing my food and sharing this and sharing that. But my children had introduced me to TikTok before, and I had been doing like micro learning on TikTok, and I had, learned so many things. And before his passing, I was just fascinated by history and things that that I hadn't learned in like regular public education. So I love TikTok for learning, but I didn't know that I could develop a community on TikTok. And so when I was going through, when I was in the depth of my grief, I didn't feel like I didn't feel like there was anyone that I could talk to, that anyone that I could explain what I was feeling. There was no one that understood because no one had lost their child. I was the first one in my group. So even I would say even from my parents, even from my mom, like my mom would reach out to me and say, like, you need to live, you have other children, and you don't, and I'm like, I never said I didn't want to live. Like, why is this? But I realized, and one of my friends made me very aware of the fact that she, like, people project their feelings, like, what would I do in your situation? And they assume that that's how you feel. And so I couldn't find quite anyone that could understand like what I was feeling. I felt like I was feeling that I was living between two realms. I wanted to be wherever my son was, and if that was in an afterlife, and that's where I wanted to be. But now I have my other two children that I need to live for. And so it was like an in-between space. And I also wasn't dreaming about him. And I'm a very vivid dreamer. I wake up and I can tell my dreams as if they were a story. And it was something that wasn't happening anymore. I wasn't dreaming about my son. He only came to me one time, and that was it. And months and months and months of me journaling and praying and crying and doing everything that anyone could tell me to do. I would do it just to get him to visit me, at least even if it was just in my dreams. And I posted that. I decided to just let me just be honest and share what I'm going through, and hopefully I'll find someone that can help me. And that's exactly what happened. So I started out sharing about how I couldn't dream about him. And Teresa was, she responded and she said, why don't you just put an amethyst under your pillow and pictures of him and whatever. And I happened to have an amethyst next to on my nightstand. And I said, oh, well, what's the coincidence? So I did it. And and I dreamt of him, and I was like, oh, it was a very interesting dream. And so many people have given me, because I don't know how to interpret dreams either. So many people have given me their interpretation of the dream, but I was like, wow, like all this time. So I don't know if it was the power of suggestion. I wasn't sure what it was, but then we started talking, and Teresa explained to me how through hypnotherapy she could help me. And I had, before my son passed, I had read this book called Journey of Souls. And I was fascinated by this book. And the book was pretty much about how this therapist that worked specifically with trauma therapy was finding that his patients were explaining or describing things that didn't quite happen in this lifetime. And so he almost by accident stumbled upon past life regression, and he documented everything. And so there are like, I don't even know how many, I think it was like 60 studies, I'm not sure, but of how things that happened in our past life can contribute to the traumas and the triggers that we experience in this life. So I was extremely fascinated by that book. However, I have never been hypnotized. I don't know anything about that or whatever. But it seems to me like that book had prepared me for when Teresa came and said, I can help you. And we can do it with this method, because I was absolutely open to it. And I think it's something that you have to be open to. I was already meditating, I was fasting, I was doing, because I really wanted to find the ways to see how I could communicate or at least see my child, my son. I just wanted to give him that last hug and have that last conversation with him that I wasn't able to. And Teresa, and it's very it's very interesting because I'm a skeptic. She was like, I don't want to seem like, but this is the internet and you have to be careful. But something in me made me feel like I can trust her and I am comfortable with her and I trust my instincts a lot. And so she offered this out of the kindness of her heart. She had nothing to gain from it other than to help me. And I oftentimes do that to my own detriment. I do that. So I understood. I felt like, oh, she's part of my tribe. We're very similar in that way. And so I agreed to it. And I spoke to my family, I spoke to my husband, and everyone was like, but no one said no. No one said don't do it. Everyone said okay, okay. I was expecting a little bit more resistance, but no. And so we scheduled on a weekend, and Teresa walked me through a very beautiful experience that I am still to this moment processing, because it is something that I have not experienced before. First of all, I have to say that it is just like I fell asleep. Like, you know how you fall asleep and you feel like you just slept for 2 minutes and you woke up and it's like, I almost cursed. Damn, I gotta get up and go to work. It feels so fast. But when she gave me the video, she recorded, it was over 3 hours. I have never laid still for 3 hours. I can't even do an MRI. Like, I've needed to do MRIs, and I'm just a fidgety person. I speak with my hands, I fidget, I like twitch, I'm like very, and I was able to, like, for 3 hours, lay on my side and have this experience that was so amazing. And it is something that, as soon as I was done, I asked her, when can I do it again? And she's like, wait, hold up. We have to wait. But it was an absolutely amazing experience, and I'm so grateful for it. But I'm sorry, because I can talk forever. So, Teresa, you
No, you're good. You're good.
interject. Interject.
So it is a lot to unpack, and most people are in a space where we've all been groomed by different religious systems. And I want to say this before we go any further. This doesn't compromise your faith system. But it does allow you to see things from just a different angle. That book, Journey of Souls, is amazing. But I'll say this to you, Madi, when you are ready to step into the shoes of doing this work, you're going to want to do the Life Between Lives book. Read that one. That's his other book. And amazing.
Wait,
Absolutely.
wait. Oh no, I did Journey of Souls, and there's another one, but I think I have that one. If
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, that'll be
okay,
your next one.
okay.
And these are books that you're going to want to keep them close. Do not lend them out, because these are going to be like your Bibles. And not to sound funny, buy your own book. And people who are interested, just go get your own. But this um, this modality, it has changed me. It is something that I can talk about every day, all day long. Um, I'm loving it more even than my cards now, and people know me for my cards. But this process, it is so amazing. It is so beautiful. I've not had a client yet who did not enjoy their session, and they get their sessions done for all different reasons. But going back to the TikTok connection, I, and I've said this to James before and even my daughter, I do not click on people's TikTok talk videos because everybody's talking. And I'm like, I can't sit still to one, to record myself talking, and to listen to, because people are just always talking. And I blew past you, and something said go back. And so I'm like, oh my God, what is this? So I go back and I'm listening, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, she needs an amethyst, I'll tell her. And I wrote the comment, and then I was like, next, and I and something said go back, you can do better than this. And that's when I said, I can help you, let's talk. And when I went into the message portion of this, I said, she's going to think I am some internet creep. I know she is. This is so not me, but it was something was telling me to do this.
Just an amazing connection all the way around. Miss Mari, Teresa, if I could just jump in for a quick second. I'm so glad that you all were able to make that incredible connection. Miss Murray, you said that when you mentioned this to your family, that you didn't get anybody that said no. And I find that fascinating. That's amazing. It was almost like a carpet was being rolled out to you and there was no opposition. Teresa, with that having been said, can I ask you, as the therapist here and the expert, is that common among clients that there's no pushback, no questions, no negativity from family members, or is that an outlier? Like what's typically? I'm just curious. The geek in me has to know these kind of questions, these kind of answers.
I think we may have lost her.
Teresa, you there? She may be having some technical difficulties. We'll let her get a minute to come back in. In the meantime, I just want to give some shout outs to our all of our viewers and our chat. Miss Mari, while you were talking, the chat was absolutely lit up. You have resonated with our chatters. We typically have a good, healthy amount of people who join us in our live chat through the Facebook page from Scratch. And I got to tell you, there's several people here whose story and testimony you touched. Miss Virginia Smith lost a child, and she just expressed her sympathy and her understanding of your situation and how you really touched her. And she said she had a loss of a child as well, and she really is just understanding the process. So many people, Monica and several others, are wishing you the best and expressing their sorrow and condolences on the loss of your son. I mean, this is just so amazing. So many people here have chimed in, and the chat has just blown up um,
Thank you.
for
Thank you.
comments.
I
So we
appreciate
appreciate
it.
everyone for their time. So, Miss Mari, here's a question for you. Now that you've done going into the hypnotherapy, apart from concerns you had for Teresa being this nebulous person out of the blue reaching out to you on social media, did you have any reservations or hesitations, like say the day of before you were about to be put under? And if so, what might some of those been that you could share with us that you had on your mind? Not showstoppers, but just questions that you may have had about the process, about what was to happen and how it would lead. Did you have anything that you want to share with the audience that was an issue? And then I'm going to ask you, how do you feel about it now, that issue, whatever it was? So take it away whenever you want to jump in.
Um, yes, I, I have to be honest. I had never been hypnotized before, and so I wasn't sure if I could, if it was even possible. You see online and you see, these people that, are under hypnosis and they make them cluck like a chicken and do all these weird things. And so here I was allowing someone, a stranger on the internet, hypnotize me. And I did have concerns about that because, we live in this world. And so people can do things and things can happen. But I think that my desire to reach my son was strong, and I wanted to, and it had been something that I had been seeking out. I actually had found a practice near me. So this is something that is becoming a little bit more popular. So Teresa wasn't the first person that I had spoken to about this. I actually had sought it out myself. It was just beyond my financial reach when I did find someone, because I found a practice, excuse me, not far from me, but they don't accept insurance because this is like non-traditional therapy. And so I'm sorry, I'm my throat. And so
Go ahead, take your time.
it was not so when she reached out to me, it was kind of like there was almost like a gravitational pull. I gravitated towards her, excuse me, and she felt a pull towards me. And so um it felt very it felt very natural. It felt very natural and I felt very safe. During the whole experience, I spoke to my husband. My husband knew. It was in the comfort of my home, so that was good. So the whole experience, there was nothing really to be afraid of. Now, in the actual hypnosis, I will tell you that it was something that I had never experienced before. And
Uh-huh.
I don't know how to put it because I was one of those people that was made like a bit incredulous. Like I'm not like sure, like, oh, is this real or is it not? But I can only be honest about my experience. It felt very much like a very lucid dream, and
Uh-huh.
I felt I felt very safe throughout the whole thing. Teresa was there the whole time, and for some reason, I just felt that as long as she was there, I was safe and I was okay. And once I was in it, it's almost like when a child is like trepidatious at first, and then you kind of want to let go of your parent and want to go and explore. But she kept making sure, making contact and talking to me and talking me through it, because before we had a lot of preparation before, and this is something that I'm very grateful to her for, because we had several conversations before. And even before the hypnosis, she had us just talk so that I could relax, because I was a bit anxious about it. So we had conversations about just random things in life and just kind of, just talking about life. And then she's like, so are you ready? But I was ready from the moment we started. I was like, yes, I'm ready. I'm ready. And she's like, okay. But she's like, oh, so how are you doing? How was your day? How's this? How's life? Whatever. And then she walked me through it. And she has this very soothing voice and this ability to just regulate your nervous system. So the experience was something that, although I initially was afraid of, it was really a beautiful experience for me. She did walk me through a past life, and it was, I don't even know how to describe it because it's just so odd. It's so weird, but it was just like I could see it, I could feel it. I was just there. Somehow there are memories in me of this place that I just don't recognize right now, but that the memories are within me. And then through that into the spirit realm, and I was able to see people that I didn't even remember. And the interesting part of it all, and I know I'm all over the place because it's just like so much. And I want to like cram all of my experience into this one conversation. But like when Teresa asked me, all I was focused on was like, I just want to see my son. I want to talk to my son. I want to I have questions for him, whatever. But I had other people come forward, and people that or my grandfather, my grandmother, my son's grandmother, his sister that passed on his father's side. And these are people that I was just like, not even like, they weren't even at the forefront of my thoughts. They were just people that I know had passed, but I wasn't even thinking about them because, I mean, anyone that has lost a child, they know that they're like consumed by this, and this is all they think about, and you're not thinking about anyone else. And so these people came forward, and it was just so nice to see them, and it was so nice to talk to them. And like the way that they, you know, almost confirmed who they were by saying things that only they could know. Like my grandfather said, say hello to your mom. And he called her by a nickname that I haven't heard since I was a child. So there was no way that like I hadn't thought of this. I hadn't thought of this in years. Like my kids don't know him. Like they never met him. So this is how long it has been since I've had a conversation with my grandfather for me to know the nickname that he called my mom. But when he said it, it's like that's him. That's him because that's what he called her. And it was just kind of like it was really. I'm still this was only last. It's been a week and a half, and I'm still wrapping my head around this experience, and it was so beautiful, and it was
So
um
basically, here's what I heard you say, Miss Mari.
mhm.
Here's what I heard you say. So basically, at every turn, this experience was just absolutely mind blowing and well beyond your expectation at every experience. Is that what we're basically saying? That's so awesome. And the fact that you were able to see and hear from other relatives other than just your son. I mean, that had to have been like, I can see the look on your face that that was just such a pleasant surprise, but just also adding to the overwhelming experience process as well. And it's just so amazing. Teresa is an amazing practitioner. I'm so glad, as others who are listening are glad that you had that opportunity to connect with your loved one, your son, and that you were able to have that conversation that you had almost always hoped you would. So, what one word, if you could, and I don't want to limit you to one word, but I just speak to any naysayers in the audience or in the chat or anybody listening who will hear this either live or recorded when they play it back. What one word would you say? Look into the camera, if you wouldn't mind, Miss Murray, and say the one word or one phrase, one sentence to that naysayer to help them understand that they don't have to be afraid and that this is a value added benefit. What would you say to that one person?
One word.
One word or one sentence.
Um, Trust and believe we are far more than what we know we are, what we think we are. The world is bigger than what we think and what we're told.
Wow. I like that. Let me ring the bell on that. The world is big. I like that. I love that. That's powerful. The world is bigger. I like that. In the chat, Miss Murray, we have Miss Zandra says blessings to you. She's still with us in the chat. She says blessings. You got tons of hearts coming your way from some of our chatters. Um, and Teresa, you've put in the chat. You said, and I don't know if there's something you want me to share here, but
Yeah,
want you
don't.
say you feel
No, no,
like
no.
her
Don't say.
son's presence is with you. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, this is a lot. I didn't want to say it because I don't want to take her someplace, but I got knocked out, and it is absolutely overwhelming in this room where I am sitting. He is literally like hovering, um, and so I welcome him. I'm welcoming him.
Can I interrupt you? Because there's something I didn't tell you, Teresa.
Hmm.
Um, the night before our session, I was sitting outside on my front porch and you and I had a conversation. So, my son was obsessed with his nephew, my grandson. He's the baby in the family. His name is Seven. And every night he would go to my daughter's house and spend time with his nephew, his godson, Seven. Absolutely obsessed. Everyone in the family is, but my son, more than anyone, was just like he took pictures of this kid all the time. And he was just like, and my grandson is only one, he's only 1 year old. He's gonna be two in November. And my grandson right now is obsessed with Toy Story.
Oh my God.
Exactly. So he's obsessed with it's so much so that he walks around with a costume of Buzz Lightyear. And he walks around with his little Woody toy and his Buzz Lightyear toy. And that's all he wants. That's all he talks about. And his birthday is all Toy Story. And his the theme to his birthday party is two, the number two, infinity and beyond. It's all Toy Story. And the night before our session, Teresa says to me, your son, he's here. She's like, I don't know how or why. I don't know if you saw Toy Story or because it just, once you said it, my mind went somewhere else. She doesn't know me and I have not said this to anyone. There is no one that knows this. I haven't talked about this other than my family, my husband, my children. And she says to me, your son is here because I see Toy Story and I see the Woody doll, and on the bottom of his soul it says Andy, which is my son's name. I sat there and I was just like, if there was any fear, any doubt, any that was I didn't tell you at the moment that was the confirmation, because in my mind, and I wasn't saying this out loud, but I was like, Andy, if this is not for me, or if this is not good, or if there's a reason why, I should just let me know somehow. But if it is, also, please, like, just give me some sign. And you said that. And that was the moment that I was like, okay, this is happening. I'm doing this and I'm trusting it. And I don't care what happens. And if she makes me cluck like a chicken and go outside and do whatever, I will do it because you said that and you didn't know. You
No.
didn't know. I will share eventually because his birthday party is next month. You will see. It's all Toy Story.
Oh, wow.
And when you said that, I was like, and it said Andy at the. I told my daughter, and she's like, Mom, I can't. Wow, you can't make these things up. There's just it can't even be coincidence. It has to be real, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I have been just praying for mediumship for so long. I hopped a plane to Atlanta to have my third eye opened by a master. And I'm like, I'm not getting it. This is too much. But in my dreams, and now when I'm speaking to people who are in the equal space of grieving that I've been in, it's like the compassion overwrites the blurred lines. And I don't know you, you don't know me. I had no information about any of this. And just even how your son, and I asked you that night, if you didn't want to tell me, you didn't have to, but knowing how he transitioned and how it links to me, and the very day, the same day that this happened to him, 1 year later, the same thing on the same day happened to me. And I feel, and I am confident in saying it, and I will say it every single time I get to talk about this, is that he found me and he brought me to you. And if there is anyone here who is willing to challenge that, we can go. Because TikTok is now my favorite place. And I am a firm believer that there's a synchronicity with everything. There's divine timing in every moment. Um, but and I know people are still in their mind thinking, well, how the fuck, like, so you put her, and let's just say this, we were not in the same room when this was done. I did this virtually. So you're in your home where you are, and I'm in my home where I am. So this was done on Zoom. So this can still work virtually, but for people who are still curious about this process, you will have conversation in real time. This is not a waving from a distance. Like in your dreams, when our loved ones who have transitioned, when we see them in dreams, they're usually very far away, and we long for them to come closer. And in this, I call them to you. There is that little moment, and it is the one fear that I have in every session, because you just want this for the client so bad. And when you arrive in spirit world, if you're too afraid, I will pop in there and you can see my true form when I get there with you. But when you're there, and then I'm asking that one magical question, who's there to meet you? I feel like my integrity is on the line in that little moment, because now you sit back. I had to sit back and I had to wait. And you were like, I don't see anything. I'm like, oh Lord, we 2 hours in. But it starts to clear. The left brain stops the noise, and things will become very, very apparent. And they will come. They will come. That is my favorite part of every session. But, and I said it before, and I'll tell you, I shouldn't say this, but I say it. Of all the sessions that I've done, this one has impacted me the most. It has, because as a mother, and to see you when you first see him, I had to sit back. I have my tissues, and I'm like, get yourself together. You're the practitioner. You can't leave her. But I had you there and I left you there. It was about an hour and some that I allowed you to sit there and to visit. And it's real time. Definitely, it's in real time.
Yeah, I can't stop watching the videos. And I see it in portions because it's a lot to process. The emotions, the real tears, the crying, the ugly cry. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, like I really it was amazing. Sorry, I have dogs. But my I've shared it with my family, with my sister. And my sister, actually, she watches the first part of it and
Hmm.
she can't get past it. She's like, because I guess in some way, shape, or form, she has memories of this. Like when I'm describing what's going on and actually being at the library and all the things that I do describe during the first part of it, she gets very emotional. She says, I've evoked in her memories that she doesn't quite understand where they're coming from. So now she's interested in doing it. And that's something that so many people are afraid of. I'll be honest with you. Everyone that I talk to about is like, oh, but weren't you scared? Or you're so brave and you're so, I guess, when you've faced the hardest thing, the you dread the most in your life, then what else? Like what do I might as well, like I might as well try the things. I find myself being a bit more fearless.
Hmm.
And I'm grateful for that because I think that in everything that happens in our life, there is something that there's growth in it. And yes, of course, I would love for my son to be back, but I can't. That is not going to happen. So I just have to seek what it is from this that I am supposed to learn, and how am I supposed to grow from this. And what it has exposed me to is this now, and I am obsessed and fascinated by it because it is very real for me. I'm not the type of person that is just like, oh yeah, like, oh, this happened and whatever I think or not. What I know, what I felt, I know, it is real to me. It is. I'm a no nonsense person. I'm a very logical person. I am a career woman. I'm an entrepreneur. I am a mother. I'm a wife. I have I mentor. There's so many things that I do. So I'm not this like, like people think like, oh, it's woo woo, it's this, it's that. No, I am someone that really looks at the science behind things. I'm someone that really believes in like, we as human beings can become arrogant, thinking that we know everything, and we know nothing. We are still at the inception stage of humanity.
Hmm.
And so this is something that like I explained to you, Teresa, once before, it's like having a room in your house that you didn't know existed. Now it's just another room. And now you're exploring this room and it's just something new to you. And so, in having this experience, I am opening it up to other people that understand, people that know me, people that know how I am, that I'm the type of person that I'm not going to recommend something to you that I haven't tried myself, that I don't know, because if it's bullshit, I'll tell you it's bullshit. And if it's
Hmm.
not, I will say it's not, it's not. So now I have my sisters like, I want to do it. My best friend, I want to do it. Everyone wants to. And through TikTok, I have so many people, so much so that the day that you reached out to me and you're like, oh, can you give me a call? I was like, oh my God, too many people have contacted her through this TikTok. And because I'm sharing it, I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even ask her if this is something that she wanted, because you specifically said, you don't have to mention me, you don't have to do anything. I just want to do this for you. And I'm just honestly sharing my journey as honest and transparent as possible. And through that, I kind of have exposed you. So I was afraid that you were upset. That's why I was like, is everything okay? Because I thought you were upset at me because so many people are going through so much pain and grief.
Yeah.
And, and I feel like you are someone that can help them with that.
Yeah, I wanted to call you that day just to check in and to see how you were, how you were moving through, your daily life from having this experience and being, that was a far trip from home that we took. And being, when we talk about the quantum, and I float you, I'm floating you out of a body that's no longer living in the past life, so that you can look down. And I put affirmations into the psyche, um, after you died, so that we can leave whatever you had in that life behind. And then if this is the type of session that you want, or that you have signed up for, then we take the next part of that field trip, which is to float you outside of that building and above, into the atmosphere, and yes, into the clouds. And we're going, because everything is energy, everything is quantum, and we go. And you're floating. And I remember at one point I said, "What do you see now?" You're like, "Everything is black." And I'm like, "Oh, we're still in space. Let's keep going." And it was like another 3 or 4 minutes of just floating. And I hate to have to keep checking in, but I have to. And I'm like, "How is my little astronaut doing now? What do you see now?" And you were like, "All I see is bright. Everything is bright." And I'm like, "Oh, we're there. We're there." And then that magical question, "So what's happening now?" And I sit back, and that is another good part of this session. And I'm so intrigued, even being on this side of it, is when we go to the council and you are face to face with your guides. And that will challenge the average person, because, make no bones about it, your guides do not all have to look human. Most of them are not. Most of them are just energy. And do you remember that part? Do you remember being face to face?
I do, and I remember, the one thing that I do remember is Luce. Her skin was so leathery and wrinkled, and she was stern, and I was a little afraid.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that, and that's imprinted in like my
Mm-hmm.
memory, like the face of like a very thin skinned, leathery,
Mm-hmm.
harsh, very weathered face. It was, yeah, I
Yeah,
remember.
it's a lot. So having this done, and I know that you expressed that you were wanting to do it again, I do suggest that we wait at least maybe 45 days or so that you can fully take in and process what you have seen and experienced. And then we can go again. This time, we can, like, if you wanted to explore a specific past life, like if you have any collected memories of maybe Egypt or any other places that call to you, we can call forward for you to get into that space and time. And it's like a quantum jump. We're going backwards though, and we can see what's happening there. And it's like a series. It's like a TV series that doesn't end. We can just keep going. I appreciated, everything that you shared on social media, on TikTok about me. I really did. And I appreciate, your kind words about, what you experienced. And for those who are listening, and I mentioned to someone else, you had another person that was really commenting on your post. And I said, it's my desire. I know this is my assignment, and it is to bring healing. And I just feel like maybe my purpose in this life was to experience so much grief and so much loss, so that I know what that sting really feels like. So that now I am forced into exploring the healing side of grief. And I just believe that you and I, we have greater work to do. There's some other project we're supposed to be doing with this story. And I know at some point it's going to reveal itself. But I just really wanted to publicly thank you for sharing, not just with me, but with all of the people that are watching and listening right now. And I know someone else is going to be impacted by your journey. So just thank you so much for
Thank
sharing,
you as well. I
for being
appreciate
real.
you.
And I know it's hard, and it's still so fresh. James, did you have anything you wanted to add to what we're doing now?
Oh my goodness, do I? I've got pages of stuff. How much time do we have left? No, one thing I want to say, and then I want to bounce over to the chat real quick. I am also one of Teresa's clients, but I got to tell you, Miss Mara, what you shared about Teresa's soothing voice and her professionalism. Listen, I can tell you, and I can tell the listening and the viewing audience, Teresa is, and I'm not saying this just because I'm her partner, but because I am a client as well. And when she put me under, so real quick, without going too deeply into who I am like you, Miss Mari. Like I question everything. I've been a lifelong psychology student and I'm an Aquarius. So I live in the cerebral, or at least I think I do. So I have to filter everything through some kind of belief system or science.
This is
But
me
when I
throwing
was
the
put
bell
under, I got
away.
to tell you,
This is me throwing the bell away right now. Go ahead.
say it again.
I said, this is me unringing the bell. Go ahead, Aquarius.
Wow. And I just wanted to say that the experience was nothing like what I thought it was. It was so unbelievably magical. Like the things you see and the level of detail you notice is absolutely astounding. Like in just real quick, in when Teresa took me to a past life, I was in London. I was in a suit with wingtip shoes walking down a dark alley. It was a cobblestone street. And I remember seeing the wingtip shoes touching the rocks. And like it was like the level of detail
I
is
saw my
extraordinary.
shoes
And when
too.
you
What
wake
is
up
up with the
from,
shoes? What is up with the I'm sorry to interrupt you, but what is up with the shoes? I saw the shoes too. I
Huh?
talked to her about my shoes. They were
yeah,
pointy shoes. Like what is what why? What is that about?
You are in that body, and that's one of the questions is I need you to look at your feet because either you're going to be wearing shoes or you're going to be barefoot, and it starts to give me some clues about what area. And I even asked, what year do you think we're in? What is this place called? So the shoes is one of the first pieces of identifying where we are.
I mean, it's a really breathtaking experience. And I love the fact, Miss Murray, that you said as soon as you woke up, you couldn't wait to do it again. Did you feel anything else upon waking up as you look back on it? Anything else come to mind when you came to? I know for me, I just felt unbelievably well rested. Like I felt like I had slept for a month. I don't know. Did you have any other thoughts or feelings upon waking from the experience?
Yes, no, absolutely. I when I woke up, I was stretching. She was watching me. I'm like stretching. I'm like, what time is it? It was 1:11. It was 1:11. I look at
Mhm.
and we had started at 10, but it felt like I was like, are you serious? Like it's been this long? I do have to say, I did develop a headache that lasted a few days after
Mhm.
that, like a pressure headache right here, and I had I broke out. I broke out. That's why I'm wearing lipstick and stuff because I actually went to see my doctor, and my doctor said to me, because this is something that has never happened. Like it's happened. Like it happens when I'm like in like I'm very stressed.
Mhm.
So it's only happened once before. And so I went to see my doctor because I was like, what's going on? I had like, I'm breaking out, whatever. And my doctor just was like, oh, it's stress related. You're like under a lot of stress. And then I spoke to Teresa, and Teresa was like, you have to drink a lot of water. You have to, because we did a lot. We went very far. So, but like immediately after, I did feel like I was just stretching, like, oh my god, like that was like a nice like long sleep. That's what it felt like. But afterwards I did kind of feel it. It did take a bit of a toll on me, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's
The
one
other
of
thing I
the.
want to say too, and I'm definitely not qualified to make this full statement, but I'll at least broach the topic, and maybe Teresa, you can jump in and throw me the lifeline on this. So I think it's important for people to understand that it's not just an experience that you're having in your mind. You're actually going somewhere. You're being taken somewhere. It's not like people might think, well, I'm being hypnotized, so this is all happening in my head. It's not. It's actually you're actually being taken somewhere, and I think that's important for people to know. So that adds to the experience. It adds to all the nuances of the experience, and it adds to the fact that this world of ours and our individual experiences are so much bigger, broader, and deeper than we can even realize. And the fact that we, as mere human beings, through a practice like hypnotherapy, can really help one another to get to the next level and to heal and to have experiences that are helpful today based on linking our yesterday to today. So I won't go on and preach any further than that, but just to say it is an amazing modality. I was greatly helped, and I'm so glad, Miss Mari, that you were too. Real quick in the chat, we've had a few people mention. Somebody said, Miss Murray, when you were explaining about your outbreak, and we're sorry that happened. Um, Somebody said that someone was probably knocking on your third eye door. That was
Mhm.
Miss Angelique Otley mentioned that. Thank you, Mama, for mentioning that comment. So many people are shouting you out, Miss Mari. There are smiley faces and hearts in the chat. We've got so many folks that are resonating with you, supporting you, and I've been asked to ring the bell. You have touched so many with your story, your testimony, and your explanation. I'm sure so many people are going to sleep so much better knowing that this modality is available and that it's something they can actually latch on to, participate in, and have it help them. I'm excited. I'm sure you can too. And if you want to speak to this, feel free to, Ms. Mari. I'm excited to get in on the ground floor of this. Like this is not new. Hypnotherapy has been out for some time, but in terms of it being mainstream, like I'm also a professional coach, and for years coaching was like people would say, what is that? What do you do when you're getting like they didn't know what it was, and the fact that so many people after coaching they go, oh, now that I know what it is, I feel so much better, and they're starting to tell their friends. I think hypnotherapy is kind of like that. It's been around. It's not brand new, but just being able to get in on this initial wave where it's really being offered to the world in a way that's happening like through social media and through practitioners who are wonderful and sensitive and very customer focused like Teresa. How do you feel concerning that you've got in at this particular time? Does the timing have anything to do with the joy and the enthusiasm that you've had about this experience, do you think?
Well, I personally think that somehow the universe was preparing me because I was exposed to this a year ago. And I was exposed to this through my son. So it wasn't something that but I'm always open to learning, and I'm always open to, because I was learning about the third eye, and with my son was very spiritual in that way, where he and I would do monk fasts together. So we would fast for 36 hours on, and then 8 to 12 hours off, and that was to detox our bodies in order to open our third eye. And I was into meditating and things like that, and so was he. And in a way I feel like he was preparing me, because somehow I think that he was preparing all of us for this to happen. I think he knew his time was up and he was ready to go. And so that is why he, through Teresa, is like, okay, now you're finally here. You get it now. And that's really how it feels. And like I said, I'm not someone that, I'm not very woo. I do believe in that we don't know everything, and we're just still in our inception stages as a species. But um, this whole experience has really opened my eyes to a broader world. It really has exposed me to something that now I'm exploring myself, because I almost like stumbled upon this. This was not something that I had ever thought of or done. I mean, I had read the books and I wanted to, and I had sought it out, but I just thought it was beyond my reach. But now that I see that it is accessible and it is something that I am extremely interested in, and that I hope that through Teresa's guidance I can learn more about, I encourage everyone to explore this because, like I said before, we are so much more than what we think we are, than what we've been told. We are very powerful, and this world is so much bigger than what we can see in our conscious state.
Absolutely. And I wanted to share this last little thought before we wrap up. Hypnosis doesn't take you someplace you've never been before. It is going to take you exactly where you've come from source, from spirit world, even into different.
Oh wow, that's powerful.
And we do this, and you don't need a hypnotherapist to do this for you or with you, but it is safer to have someone facilitate this. But I'll say this: we do this every night. Every night when our bodies go to rest, it's like when we put our phone at night on the charger. Our bodies get into the bed, and the bed is our charger. And there's something inside of us.
Wow.
It's called the silver cord. And when a person is alive, there's a spark or there's a light in the eyes. And I've seen this twice now, letting go of two siblings. When that light goes out, it's just like when a bulb blows. That spark in the eyes goes first. But that spark is the light that comes from God. And that light that keeps us in his light is what illuminates the silver cord, which is why when you go into a cemetery, the dead that walks in there, they see your cord. They know you're not one like them. When you go to spirit world and they see your cord, people will usually sit back and wonder, why is she here? She still has her light on. And that's how in spirit world they know that you're not there for a permanent time. And this is why even Andy said, I have to go now because we can't break the rules when we're over there. That's their home. So this is how they know that you are not in their realm, and we are kind of bending things to get in and out of those spaces. But yeah, that silver cord is very much real. When you go in and you're visiting loved ones who have passed, I am now getting into the mindset that I no longer have to go into a cemetery to connect. I'm We go there, and it is through habit and through society's norms that we think we have to go there to clean these grave sites and to put flowers. They're not there. They do not live there. This is just a thing. It's a ritual. It's a habit that we do. And sometimes people think, well, I have to go because I have to keep it up. You know why? Because we are worried about what people will think. They don't live there. What is left lives there, and it goes back into the earth. They live in spirit world, and they come and go here when we are struggling. So I just wanted to say that, Mari, it was an absolute pleasure having you. I look forward to doing this again and again and again as long as it takes. I am proud to always be here to answer questions. You don't have to book me to have me answer your questions, but I am all for this. I'm all about this life, and I can talk about this until midnight if need be. But thank you. I am absolutely so honored again to have connected with you, and I look forward to the connection again. And James, I'm ready to wrap up and close if you are.
Thank you.
You're
And
Yes,
so
ma'am. I
welcome.
just want to say this, Miss Mari. Thank you so much. Real quick, I want to just mention some names of our viewers, our listeners. You're so precious. Thank you all. We appreciate everybody for just being with us and rocking, folks. You can go back into our playlist and go back to all of the episodes we've done on the YouTube channel From Scratch. So check us out there. And just as these folks have, you can always connect with us live on these episodes in the chat through the YouTube channel. So we want to give a quick shout out to Miss Alexis, Miss Virginia, Miss Lisa, Miss Monica, Miss Kathy, Miss Farah, Miss Angelique, and I think that covers Miss Perez, Miss Monica. Thank you all for joining us on this evening. Teresa, over to you.
And that wraps another exciting episode of the From Scratch podcast, episode 7. We hope that you enjoyed this week's journey into the mystical, magical, and practical realms. Don't forget to join us every Thursday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for more thought-provoking conversations. No topic is ever taboo here, and we love engaging in live chat interactions with our amazing community. Remember, the universe speaks directly to us. It sings to poets, primitives, mystics, and children alike through the powerful tools of, yes, the tarot and quantum healing modalities like hypnosis and past life regression and prayer. Everyone can access and hear its beautiful song. Thank you for being a part of my journey from the From Scratch podcast. Thank you for being a part of that journey as well. This is your founder and host, Teresa Angela, along with my co-host and dear friend and love, James W. Falcon, signing off. Until next time, keep listening to the universe. It is always speaking and wanting to connect with you. Take care and good night.